Right now at noon, new graduation requirements for Kansas high school students set to begin this fall.
We've got some cloudy skies out there. A few thunderstorms still possible this afternoon. A greater severe threat as we head into Saturday. The latest on your forecast coming up.
Plus, get ready to splash into summer as Joplin's public pools open next weekend.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The daughter and son-in-law of Missouri State Representative Ben Baker have been killed in Haiti. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Snowy. Natalie Lloyd and her husband Davy Lloyd were full-time missionaries in the country. Baker posted on Facebook last night that the couple was killed by gang members in Haiti yesterday evening. Haiti has been in a state of unrest since the 2021 assassination of President Jovenel Moise. At this time, it is unknown who is responsible for the deaths of the couple. Now let's check in with Chris Warner for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we still have that possibility of some strong to severe thunderstorms as we head into the afternoon and early evening hours across the area. That low to elevated risk does remain in place. Not really changed much since this morning, so still in place there. And then tomorrow is our alert day as we have that elevated to enhanced risk across a good portion of the region for strong to severe thunderstorms tomorrow night. They still looking to be after about 8 o'clock tomorrow night. And then Sunday, some redevelopment possible along the front as it finally pushes through early Sunday morning, and we could see a few stray strong storms as we head into Sunday across the area before noon, with the main complex exiting by 1 o'clock. The thunderstorm chances on Sunday are considerably lower, but if we saw some, severe weather is possible. We started yesterday at 62, made it up to 85, so again, not quite a record high, but still well above where we're supposed to be this time of year. We are currently sitting at 70 in Joplin, so already 1 degree above normal, 79 in Pittsburgh. We've had some peaks of sun out there, which is allowing us to warm up. It's also gotten quite muggy. Temperatures upper 70s, most of us in the low 80s as we get this noon hour going. And again, we'll have those isolated to scattered thunderstorm chances as we head into the late afternoon, early evening hours. And then we'll start to clear out as we head overnight tonight, falling back eventually into the low to mid 60s by midnight. We're going to talk about our scattered storm chances today and that severe threat tomorrow, as well as what we may see on Sunday in that full forecast. That's coming up here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. The city of Parsons, Kansas announced yesterday that it will no longer use City Hall as a storm shelter. The city says that's to ensure the safety of Parsons residents, as the building was not designed as a storm shelter, but as a fallout shelter. Based on FEMA recommendations, the building does not meet the minimum requirements. The city advises residents to seek another location for shelter. The city of Joplin says it's hired enough staff to open 2 public pools this year. Both Schifferdecker and Cunningham Aquatic Centers will open next Friday, May 31st. In recent years, the city has not been able to hire enough lifeguards to open multiple pools, but this year things are different.
We increased our pay. We are also paying for the lifeguard certification and their uniforms. I think that was a huge part of getting more people. We also added 15-year-olds.
You can learn more about each pool's amenities and prices on our website. The Shoal Creek Conservation Education Center invites the public out to a native plant sale. This Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. the center will make available for the sale of native plants for landscaping needs, as well as information about the benefits of planting native species.
Plants are really beneficial to people as well as wildlife, which is kind of why they're so special. They're really awesome for pollinators. They're great for, like I said, our wildlife here in the area, because they are plants that are here without being introduced or planted. So they're perfectly adapted to the climate that we have here in the state because they occur naturally.
This event is free and open to the public. Well, some Seneca, Missouri students yesterday spent some time helping at the Seneca Cemetery. The students are part of FFA. Yesterday, they planted American flags by the graves of veterans to honor their sacrifice to keeping our country safe.
It's a very important holiday to me. It's a good way to remember those loved ones that we've lost and the ones that have sacrificed so much for our country.
Memorial Day for me is a time to honor veterans. We actually as a family go and decorate the graves of our family members who have passed on. And every time we do, we take our kids and show them the importance of going and honoring those and telling stories about growing up and what we remember about them and why it's important to remember those who have passed before us.
The flags will be on display until the 31st when the students return to pick them up. Well, for the first time in 2 decades, Kansas high schoolers will soon have new graduation requirements. The new requirements start this fall with the incoming class of 2028. KOAM's Fran Da Silva has those details.
Students are always thinking about the future, and that's the goal of it. The state is asking us to align their individual plan of study and the course requirements that they have throughout their tenure in high school.
Bexar Springs High School Principal Corey White believes the changes in the graduation requirements are positive for these students and also don't change too many things for this school.
We've had to move some things outside the school day. One would be driver's education, because we used to offer it during the school day. Now we're going to move that outside the school day to accommodate those changes. Been some minor things for us.
Columbus High School Principal Dan Grundy also believes the new requirements will be beneficial.
When you're looking at change, you're looking at growth. So I think that it can't all be bad. So I mean, there's a lot of components to this that I think will see improvement for kids.
Among the changes, high school seniors will now have to complete the free application for federal student aid. But there are options around it. Parents can file a waiver and superintendents can also make exceptions. The old requirements have been in place since 2005. Back then, the middle schoolers who are now going to high school and are going to be affected by the change were not even born.
Now we're trying to meet the needs of students. They may have lost some academia, if you will, when they're away from school. So now we're putting structures in school in place, to meet those needs as students come through now.
The number of credits to graduate remains the same, but some changes to credits were made. Instead of 4 credits of English language arts, for example, students will now need 3.5 credits of ELA and 1.5 credit of communication. The updated graduation requirements also include students' completion of at least 2 post-secondary assets.
I think the biggest impact for us as a school is just making sure how we check that these things are being done. A lot of our kids are having community service, playing sports, scoring well on academic areas. And we're just going to have to be able to document that all students are meeting 2 of those things.
Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
You can learn more about the new Kansas high school's graduation requirements and what it could mean for your student on our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Coming up, weather could impact holiday travel for millions of Americans this Memorial Day weekend. And later, we're making honky-tonk burgers in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Wild weather is slamming parts of the country with millions of Americans on the move for Memorial Day. And experts are saying driving this weekend could take up to 90% longer than normal. Chris Van Cleve explains.
Let's make sure our staffing is up to par, calling everybody we need.
Inside the FAA's command center outside Washington, D.C., it's all hands on deck at the start of the busy summer travel season. With more than 50,000 flights and pushing 3 million passengers expected today alone, they are closely monitoring how the air traffic is flowing and the threats of severe weather that could cause disruptions. What keeps you up at night?
The weather. If the weather's good, I'm happy. Managing volume is easy. Managing the weather is not so easy.
The FAA is about 3,000 air traffic controllers short. The agency hired 1,500 last year with the goal of another 1,800 this year.
We do have alternate strategies in the event that they do have a day or 2 where they don't have proper staffing, that we can mitigate that impact.
The nation's airlines expect to fly 271 million passengers this summer, up more than 6% from last year's record pace. The vast majority, an estimated 38.4 million, will drive to their holiday getaway.
We are anticipating crazy traffic, so we are going to leave earlier than we normally would, just to account for that.
Tina Hemmerlawn is taking an annual 6-hour road trip from Atlanta to Tybee Island, Georgia. While gas prices are just a few cents higher than last year, they're still top of mind.
So if we spend $50 on gas, then we won't spend quite as much doing something else.
Looking towards your drive home, AAA expects Sunday and Monday between 3 and 7 p.m. to be the worst times to drive. The TSA expects Monday will be its busiest day at the airports on the backside of the holiday. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, on the road in Virginia Beach.
Still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
If you think all burgers are created equal, you better stick around. because the burgers we're making today are over the top.
And we have an alert day heading into Saturday, keeping an eye on severe weather possible this afternoon, a greater severe threat tomorrow, the latest right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM News at Noon. So we had a few scattered showers and storms early this morning. Those have cleared out, but we are still waiting for the actual cold front to get here in the next couple of hours to bring us this risk for strong to severe thunderstorms heading into this afternoon across the area. So again, not major changes from this morning. They did extend the low tornado risk a little bit further to the north out there. We still have the low to elevated hail threat, and we still have those hash marks indicating the possibility of very large hail, 2 inches in diameter or larger, and the wind risk, the elevated wind risk, you may recall, was much further southeast. It's been backed up just a little bit as well. And as mentioned, today's not our only severe weather day. We have our alert day tomorrow for the potential for what could be a significant severe weather event. We do have an elevated to enhanced risk for strong to severe thunderstorms across the area on our Saturday, and this is going to be Saturday night after 8 p.m. And honestly, looking at some of the new data, these storms will be moving quick enough. We talked about 8 p.m. to 2 a.m., maybe out of here a little earlier than that. And then Sunday, we do have a low to elevated threat for severe weather. Now, here's the reason on that. 2 reasons. One, could see some ongoing activity from Saturday night. Number 2, though, is the boundary that's going to set off the Saturday night storms will not actually push through the area until Sunday morning. As it does so, between, say, 6 a.m. and noon, we could see some redevelopment along that cold front that could trigger some additional strong to severe thunderstorms. But the good news is the chances of storms on Sunday are relatively low as we head later into the morning, and if we saw anything, it would be very isolated to widely scattered. Here we are at 3, and this is the other part of new model data. We were looking at possible development by 3, but that's been slid back just a bit. We're looking at development closer to 4 o'clock right along this front, and this is when those storms could be strong, potentially severe, and they'll kind of continue with some of us through the late evening hours, say 7, 8 o'clock at the latest, before they move out of here. Overnight tonight, we're fine. As we head into most of our Saturday before 8 p.m., we're fine. We're actually going to be a little warmer. We're talking mid-upper 80s out there, and with the humidity levels and dew point levels a little higher ahead of the storms, we could have heat index values into the low 90s. So not significant, but enough that it's going to be uncomfortable. Here we are tomorrow night at 9. 2 concerns with tomorrow's storms. One is the possibility we get a supercell or 2 ahead of this main line. If we do, then that's going to cause its own problems with a limited tornado threat and, of course, a chance for very large hail. The biggest concern is with this. Take a look at the shape of this line by 9 o'clock, rolling in Yates Center, Fredonia, back in through Chautauqua County. Is the bowing. We're looking more so at a wind concern tomorrow night more than anything else. Now, all hazards are possible tomorrow, but wind, damaging winds, 70, 80 miles an hour, potentially higher, are the main concern. That's what we've really got to watch. So if you're going out for Memorial Day weekend, or even if you're staying home, since this is going to be so late in the evening for so many of us, you want to make sure you've got a way to receive severe weather alerts, and make sure if you are going out that you do have a place to take shelter should these storms roll through. Here we are at 10. So it's moving very quickly across the area, which is, again, where that greater wind threat comes from. By 10 o'clock, it's right along the 69 corridor through southeast Kansas. By 11, midnight, it's already on its way out of here. We've still got it in our eastern counties, Stockton, Monette, Mount Vernon, Cassville, but otherwise it is on its way out by midnight, and we may be clear by 2 a.m., 1 a.m. even, with these storms. Then, as the actual boundary approaches, see the wind shift line, we could see some additional scattered showers and storms in the morning hours on Sunday. And even though, as you can see here on the future track, they'd be very isolated, scattered at best, the ones we see might have the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorm activity. But the rest of our Sunday beyond noon looks fantastic. So again, we've got to keep a close eye on this afternoon for some of those storms, but more so tomorrow night, especially with it being the holiday weekend. Just make sure you are weather aware. We'll be again mid-upper 80s tomorrow, mid-80s on Sunday. A break in the storms Monday and Tuesday before we see additional shower and thunderstorm chances next Wednesday through next Sunday. So still more storm chances out there, but again, the short term, got to watch the storms this afternoon and evening. More so the storms tomorrow night into Sunday morning.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, stick around. We're making honky tonk burgers in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. Howard is showing us how to make honky-tonk burgers in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
You know, it seems like forever since we had a long weekend. And with this weekend being the unofficial start to summer, I can't wait to cook up some burgers and relax. At least that's the plan until something else is added to my never-ending honey-do list. But even with that, I guarantee I'll make time for these over-the-top burgers. To make them, all we do is mix together some ground beef, barbecue sauce, and a touch of salt and pepper. Now we form these into patties, and here's a little tip. Make an indentation in the center of each patty before cooking them so they don't puff up and end up looking like meatballs. Depending on the weather, we can cook them inside in a grill pan or skillet or out on the grill. A couple of minutes on each side is all it takes before we top them with a slice of white cheddar. Now we build them with all of our favorites. Lettuce, tomato, bacon, yeah, bacon. And to go a step further, make sure you don't forget to slather these with our homemade garlic mayo and pile on some crispy onion rings. I hope you'll go online and get the recipe for our honky-tonk burgers so you'll have it on hand this weekend. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, wishing you a happy Memorial Day. And even with everything else going on, don't forget to take a moment to remember those who gave of themselves so we can live in freedom. After all, that's the true meaning of, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Now, here's a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, still watching that possibility. A couple of strong, maybe severe storms this afternoon out there. We have our alert day tomorrow. Strong to severe storms still looking to be between 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. So if you've got plans this weekend, make sure you're weather aware. Could see a few stray strong storms in the first half of our Sunday. A break Monday, Tuesday. More storms next week.
Definitely have to be aware this weekend.
Make
sure you have a plan.
Make sure you've got ways to get weather alerts. And if you're camping, going out fishing, whatever, make sure you got a place to take cover if you need to.
Absolutely. Coming up tonight at 5, Memorial Day weekend marks the unofficial start of summer, and skin cancer experts are reminding everyone to stay safe in the sun. Plus, the grand opening of the Legacy of Liberty World War II Memorial Park in Afton, Oklahoma. And Pittsburgh residents are raising concerns over a trash service company. Join us for those stories and more on KOAM News at 5. And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at noon. Have a great rest of your day.